Hey, what's up, universe? It's 3:08 p.m. Central Time on Friday, September 29th, 2023. It's a full moon. So it's been a minute since I've been live and since I posted any kind of an update, and I was intending to do an update here coming up because there's some stuff to talk about. I've been quiet because I've been focusing on some stuff internally and working on some stuff, some things I wanted to share with you guys. So I'll gotta get into some of that. First thing though, the whole reason for this, the inspiration for this video is because I was gonna go pick up my son from school like I normally do, right? Still currently unemployed, still living out of my car. So I went to where I left my car and it is not there. So I was like, it didn't look like it had been broken into. There was nothing. There was actually another car in my spot where I had parked. There wasn't any like broken glass or anything like that. And I was like, I wonder what has happened here. And so I go back into Hy-Vee here, and they can't provide me the video footage because, well, it's just kind of how the laws work here in Kansas. They can't show me the video footage until I call the police. So I was like, all right. So I call the police, and I'm like, hey, my car is missing. I don't know if it's been stolen or if it's been repossessed, whatever. And so I give them my plate number and everything. And the woman, the dispatcher, was very kind. And she's like, actually, it was repossessed. She's like, they called us to let us know so that we wouldn't report it stolen. And I was like, all right. So she gives me the information for the company that has repossessed the vehicle. And so I call the number, right? And the number is like, got a bunch of messages on it. But one of the first things they say is like, hey, if you want to pick up your stuff from the car, because all of my personal belongings are in my car, right? They're like, hey, if you want to pick that up, you have to schedule, or it's best if you schedule online. I'm like, all right. So I go online, I get myself reset back up. I've messaged my son at this point, and I'm like, hey, I can't pick you up today. I message, Angela and let her know. I'm like, hey, and I message my mom. Anyway, so I get set back up, and I realize, I don't know what my VIN number is. Pro tip, keep track of that shit. So I thought about how am I going to obtain this information. So I called the police back, and I was like, hey, I think I just, I don't know if I spoke to the same woman, but I'm like, hey, I just spoke to you guys. I don't know my VIN number, and I can't get my stuff out of my car until I have my VIN number. And the dispatcher was like, well, we can't give that to you. And I'm like, of course you can. Okay, all right, fine. They're like, well, call your insurance people. And hey guys, I haven't had car insurance in a minute, so I don't necessarily want to call my insurance people, but whatever, okay, I'll call my insurance people. Luckily, I was able to log back into my account, because I think the other day I may have tried to do that. Anyway, I was able to get into my insurance account, log into my profile, and find my VIN number. All right, cool. So I was able to get my VIN number. So then, go back to the website for the possession people, and I'm like, hey, here's my VIN number, and they're like, we don't have that in our system. And I'm like, maybe I'm early. Maybe this hasn't been processed yet. Oh yeah, possibly. So I then call them back, and I go through the menus and all this kind of a thing, and I end up talking to this woman, very nice woman. I tell her the whole story, all this kind of a thing, and she's like, yeah, I see it. She's like, it was repossessed earlier today. She's like, it hasn't been processed. She's like, that's why you're not finding it online. She's like, it could take us 24 to 48 hours to process the vehicle. And then after that, you can schedule a time, because you have to schedule a time. You can't just like show up to this place. You have to schedule a time to like get your stuff out of the car. All right. She's like, and we're not open on the weekend. So she's like, you can call us back on Monday and see where we're at with it. And I'm like, okay, so Monday might be the earliest that I can get my stuff out of my car. All right, fine, no big deal. I have my laptop, and I have like my normal kind of like day stuff that I keep with me, right? But like all of my paperwork, like my passport, any of like my like important paperwork, that's in the vehicle. And that's kind of the only stuff I care about. Everything else, like very minimal stuff. Oh, damn. Now that I'm just thinking about it right now, all of my clothes, except for what I'm wearing right now, are in the car. That's kind of a rub. So there's that, okay? There's that. That's my current situation. how am I doing with this, right? I'm keeping like a pretty even like energy about it right now, and in this moment, that's how I'm feeling about it. I'll tell you the truth, like I have totally, when I was living in the house, right, that house that I was in, I thought about like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to get rid of this car. You know, getting rid of my car has come up for me over the last 4-ish months or so. And what's so interesting, honestly, about the VIN number is that I was doing my ritual, like my intentions, right? It's full moon, so I wrote out intentions, and I set my alarm. Honestly, I do this. This is how anal I can get about it. I set my alarm. I got up at 4:57 a.m., right? And I burned my intentions. And I thought this morning, I was like, you know, I should take a picture. It was like one of those little faint in the back of my mind thoughts. I was like, you know, because I sat there with my car door open, and I saw the tag with my VIN number and all this stuff. I was like, maybe I should take a picture of this. That actually came into my mind, but I didn't do it. But I just thought that was kind of funny. So anyway, where am I going with this? Let's see. The clothes, the VIN number. Sorry, I got a little derailed. Oh yeah, my energy, right? Yeah, thinking about getting rid of the car. So one of the examples I used with my language analysis, right, was about like that I kept using when I was analyzing my journals was like, this car always reminds me of you. Now, one of the things I haven't been saying since I haven't been on Instagram in a while, September has kind of been a pain in my ass when it comes to Reese, if you want to know the truth. Nothing to do with her specifically. Like, she hasn't contacted me, nothing like that. It's been more of like the emotional thing, like just where out of nowhere, it's just been coming up for me to process. And I say it's a pain in the ass because for like a handful of months, I was doing pretty good and like, no big deal. And then all of a sudden for September, for some reason, it was just more on my mind and more in my emotional body to metabolize. And it was annoying in a way because I didn't know why it was coming up, but it was, whatever. Grief is a strange beast, right? So in that regard, getting rid of the car or having the car repossessed is actually okay with me. I'm okay with it. What am I going to do? Where am I going to live? How am I going to get around? I don't know. These are surmountable problems. I'm not worried about that. That's going to be fine. On the plus side, to kind of tie into that, my mom and I have had recently, within the last week, a couple of like really good conversations that we haven't been able to have like ever in ways that we've never been able to have. And so I'm very grateful for that. So I feel like maybe there's an opportunity there to kind of get some shelter and maybe a bit moving around thanks to her. Now, what's interesting about this is that tomorrow, right? Okay, when it comes to employment, I've been applying for jobs, okay? I've applied for like over 30, 40 some odd jobs, and I've had a couple of interviews, but none of this shit's panned out, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that. Now, tomorrow, I do have an interview because I did reapply because there is a barista job open at the coffee shop that I used to work to in this Hy-Vee, okay? I have an interview tomorrow for that job. Now, look, fucking like 99% sure I'm gonna get that. Now, that was gonna be no problem when I was like sleeping in the Walmart parking lot. I could drive here, I could go take a shower at my mom's place, like whatever. Now, what am I gonna do? Don't know. Again, surmountable problem. But there's an update on the job front. So I'm gonna be going back to the coffee shop, most likely, right? Now, it's not like they haven't offered me the job yet, but like, let's be serious. It'd be silly, it'd be crazy. I don't know. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna assume I have this job. So part of the update, part of the thing I've been going on about and researching on the back end here when I've been silent, right? And this is gonna maybe get into some stuff where people are like, what? Like, this might be challenging to some people, or it might challenge like some beliefs, or it might trigger some people in a way. I don't know. It's interesting, and I only say that because when I read or watch videos on this kind of topic, people have all sorts of different opinions about it, right? What the topic is paying taxes, right? So I've done a lot of research on this kind of a thing, and this all ties into stuff that's been coming up across my plate, like I said in other Instagram videos, like earlier in August and all of this kind of a stuff. So this is things I've known for decades. And I just haven't had a practical way, a step-by-step kind of procedure to do it. Now that has changed. I've come across some information, some methods, and I'm in a position that I don't have anything left to lose. I don't have anything left to lose, whatever. So I'm gonna try it. I have no fear, because I don't have anything to lose, whatever. So it is a fact. It is a straight up fact, that paying taxes is voluntary. It's voluntary. It's no bullshit. I can show you the documentation. It's 100% just voluntary. It's not a joke. It sounds like craziness. I understand. And that's the part where it's like, what? You might be like, what? So a lot of people have different opinions about this kind of a thing, but it is still doesn't change that it's a fact that paying taxes, income tax, is voluntary. Sure, there's other taxes you'll have to pay. I'm talking about income tax, strictly income tax. I want to be clear about that. So I have filed with the IRS what's called a revocation of election, right? I did that. It's to them. And now when I get employed again, all I need to do is, instead of submitting, like a normal, W-2, I forget, W-4, I forget whatever tax form it is, right? So there's another form, it's a W-8-BEN. So I'm gonna file that. And then they're not gonna withhold any taxes, right? So I'm excited a bit to kind of get employed again so that I can use myself as a real life example of this process. It's part of what I was going to come back and show you guys or tell you guys on, at a little bit future date on Instagram. This wasn't something I was going to do like today and announce it, but hey, that's what's going on. So there's other things I'm kind of getting into as well, like other processes that I'm going to try, but I'm going to go through those and see how they work out, and then I can talk about them. But that's the first one. That's actually the lowest hanging fruit, is around the taxes. And it's actually a pretty simple process, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's that it's voluntary. Trust me, I had my own skepticism around it too, but as I was going through the process, it's obvious. It's obvious that it's voluntary. Okay, so other than that, that's kind of those are the big scoops. That's what I got. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm gonna go ahead and process this some more because, I literally just learned that my car got repossessed an hour ago. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of sit with what my situation is, and I'm just gonna let myself feel into that. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I saw a couple people join. Thank you for checking it out. And I will keep you guys updated. All right. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.